This is Flatlandrelics. My name is Matt. Welcome back, everybody. As you can see here, got a little bit of a downward angle onto the top of the cab. Over the years with this cab, a bunch of holes have been drilled in the top to add equipment, same old story. They're always adding stuff to these fire trucks, spotlights, whatever it may be, horns, I don't know. But what I had to do was go through and chip off all the Bondo that's covering the holes. Somebody filled all the holes with Bondo, which was nice. Keeps water out. But I had to go back and pop it all off, which, as you can see here, is no small feat. That dotted line of lumps in front of my hands, that's all little holes that were drilled and patched through. So we're just trying to get that stuff off in preparation for doing some metal work or getting it sandblasted. I might patch some of these holes before I send it out to get sandblasted. This is a cab that I feel definitely will have to get that type of treatment. I don't want to just try and wire wheel this and, be like, yeah, that's good enough. I feel like the cab should definitely get blasted, possibly the doors too. We'll see. I called the local place around my house, and they don't even have any openings till next year. I got to send them some pictures and get a quote. We'll see what that looks like. The Bondo came up surprisingly easy. I'm just kind of tapping the chisel with the back of another chisel and just kind of trying to catch a lip there and pop it off. A lot of times it came off in big chunks. It just kind of cracked and came off in like chunks the size of a quarter, which was helpful. Sometimes it was mushed in the hole pretty good. Sometimes it wasn't. So I just chipped away at it one at a time, and little by little got to the end. Here's a good case of action and reaction. I guess that old dried out plexiglass was not strong enough to withstand me hammering the roof for a little while. That glass has been broken. No sense in replacing it till later. But here's the top of the roof. You can see some of the holes are pretty good size. Some aren't too bad. But, I mean, there's probably 10 or 12 of them. Have to take all them back together. Fill them somehow. I don't know if I'm going to try and get like a hole puncher or something. Or if I'm just going to build up little beads and circles and then just grind them down flat. Yeah, it'd be hard to cut a circle that small, so not exactly sure how I'm going to handle that. Another thing I wanted to get rid of were the wiper mechanism guards. These are another homemade, just some piece of solid rod kind of arched over that, and then another piece coming down from the top and welded and then bolted on. The bolts are pretty gone on those guards. They were pretty rusty, even though I kind of wire wheeled them a little bit to try and get a good bite. Didn't really work out that well. Most of them just started spinning right away. A couple of them came off. So here, just going to take out the trim ring. I want to get this back window out. I primed the trim ring a while ago. When I first got this truck, it didn't have a back window, so I added the glass and I added the rubber around the window. And I took the time to just sand and prime the trim ring. I didn't want that to rust out. And here I'm just kind of gently pry it out. You know, careful how you do that. You can see there's a couple white pieces of strip plastic, and I used those just to shim the window up so they sat a little bit better. And then here I'm going to take off some of this, these like interior cardboard pieces. I'm not sure I would even add those back in. Those are kind of odd to me. That's some 60s stuff for sure. Yeah, I'm not interested in putting those back in. But there's also a like a trim bezel that goes around each door, and then one that goes over the windshield. And here you'll see me taking one out of the door. So it might seem like I'm bouncing around a little bit in this video, and I am. There is a reason. My one welder died. My multi-process welder died. And I am currently waiting for my other one. And that is causing me to just continue to prep the truck to pull the cab. Now, when I do pull the cab, I'm going to make a custom cart designed just to hold a Power Wagon cab. The problem is I can't make that cart without my multi-process welder. So I went and just got myself a MIG welder because it's about time I have one of them. None of that is set up yet. So in the meantime, what I'm doing is just taking parts off this truck, so when it's time to pull this cab, I'm prepared. I did think the running boards were going to be a little more work. I just ended up cutting all the bolts, I think. I wasn't trying to mess with them. They were pretty locked up. And their carriage bolt and the wood inside, the bracket's gone. Like, there was more than one reason to just nick these bolts and carry on and not think twice about it. So here, that's what I'm doing. I'm just freeing up the running board off the brackets. As you can see, that one's not even cut yet, and it's completely loose because the wood's completely gone, so the running board's actually sitting lower than it should. Yeah, whoops, forgot my mask. Like I said before, when I'm working underneath and I can get stuff showering down on me, whether it be dirt, concrete dust, or sparks or whatever, rust, I always try and wear my face shield. Here, this popped right off. It's a little heavier than normal because of the giant piece of pipe that runs all the way through it. And yeah, those brackets are full of nothing but rust and dirt. I think a lot of that's just rotten wood. But yep, there's a little piece of wood that lasted. Most of these brackets are pretty good. I think I lost one or two on the passenger side are rotted out. But the driver's side ones, I think they're going to be able to get cleaned up and painted. So that's good. The less parts I have to buy, obviously the more money I'll be able to save. This running board was a lot more rotted out. You can see all the holes in it. See the light shining right through. Like I said, those brackets are a little more whooped. They're kind of rotted out also. So, when's a better time than now to get rid of that old plexiglass windshield? That worked great for the guys in the woods putting out forest fires, but I will not be doing that. I would like to have a glass windshield like it's supposed to. The plexiglass, it gets weird and scratched up and like foggy. I don't know. It's definitely not something you want to keep if you ever get a truck like that. So I'm just trying to knock this stuff out. I broke the one side. The driver's side, I cracked it clean through. But this side was still intact, but not anymore. There we go. And just like that. It is a lot easier to clean up than glass, I will say that. There was some writing on one of the pieces. I believe it's the type of plastic. And I go over here. Yeah, it's on that piece right here. Yeah, there it is. So there's some writing on it. And I guess they use the special kind of plastic. It's like a safety glazing. Some kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Plexiglass, I'm sure. So if you're ever building a classic woods brush truck for the fire department, hey, that's what you want to replace the windshield with. So here I'm going to go through pulling shocks, checking the shock mounts, just taking a look at basically a replaceable part that obviously they need to be replaced. Those things are pretty whooped. But you also got to check all the mounts, and I had a little trouble getting this nut off. I think it's a little bit cross-threaded. Some of the threads looked kind of smushed when I pulled the shock off later on, so that's kind of a bummer. Gonna have to find some replacement stuff. I have to hit up Vintage Power Wagon for that. Once you get the nut off, the hold down nut on the shock, they actually sit on like a smooth shaft. It's only threaded far enough to hold the shock on tight. So once you get that nut off, they slide off pretty easy. This one was giving me a little bit of trouble, but I just popped the bottom off, and I think it popped right off after that. Right now where I'm spraying on that bottom shock mount on the rear axle housing, there are some really strange boogery welds on that, and it's on both sides. And I'm starting to think that maybe the shock alignment got changed. I'll have to look at a finished truck and kind of cross-reference that. I mean, the welds are like worse than the ones that I would do, and that's not saying much, you know. So it definitely looks like somebody just kind of slapped that back on, but in a different position. And here you can see that there's like that weird patch on the shock. Never seen nothing like that before. The back shocks were the ones on the right that are a little bit longer. So there's a different fuel pump on this truck, and it has a homemade brush guard protecting it. So definitely going to get this plate off of here. And here it's just standard MO for old rusty stuff. Wire wheel the nuts and bolts and try and get them so you can get a wrench on clean, and then just try and work them out if you can. If not, cut them. Whoever added all these extra skid plates and protection plates for driving this truck through the woods, they did a pretty decent job. You know, it didn't have to be a showroom finish, but it had to work correctly. And here you can see they even cored out a hole in the plate so they didn't have to pop the rivet out. That way it would seat flush on that cross member. So some of the handiwork's pretty good. As I take this apart, I see some interesting stuff. But since it's not stock, it's not something I'd want on the truck. If anything's for sure, this truck has a lot of crusties. You see, anywhere where there's a little pocket that had ever formed, or anywhere where dirt and just crust and rust can collect, it absolutely does. Right about here, I'm leaning on the end of the bolt that I cut off with the grinder. There it is. And it was burning my shirt, burning my arm. I thought something was biting me on the ground, but here I was just burning through 3 different layers. So definitely felt that. And this is that fuel pump. I don't believe it to be stock. I could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure it's not stock. I'm just nicking the bolts that are through the frame, holding it. I don't know if the stock fuel pump even goes in that position later on, but this one is, it's just bolted up with that extra skid plate. And like I said, I don't think it's stock, so I just want to get rid of it. Here's a quick view of the burn damage that you'll get if you cut something off of the grinder and then immediately lean on it. It changed the color of my sweatshirt and made it really brittle. So it was definitely melting its way through, and I have a little blister on my arm, which I didn't find out till later. So one of the things I do, and it's something to help me out, it's like paying it into the future, kind of. I like to go through and wire wheel stuff that I know I'm going to have to take apart, like this cab mount. So that bolt's not that bad. It just has a layer of rust on it. And if you wire wheel it off and then come back and spray it over the next couple weeks, next week or two, or whenever I have to pull that, you might get lucky and actually not have to cut the bolt or melt it with a torch, and just, you might get it out of there just by cleaning the rust off the threads. This one is hard to see because of the angle I'm at, but it was pretty much gone. Like, the hold down nut was rusted out really bad. It wasn't even completely there. So this one I'm a little worried. I'm probably going to have to cut this one. Yeah, it's looking pretty rough. I feel like just taking the time to do this and clean nuts and bolts that you know you're going to have to remove, it helps the penetrant oil get in better because you're taking off all that crust that is formed on them and you're just getting it back to like the base metal there. And tonight was the first night that I've gone through underneath the truck and just went after anywhere where I saw a fastener, a nut, a bolt head. It's a nice mud wasp nest. Good thing that's empty. Yeah, that big king nut in the transfer case. Just clean the grease off of that. See that that nut with the cotter pin. Got that one. I tried to go around and do all the ones on the center section the best I could because eventually that's going to have to get pulled. Drive shaft nuts. Hit them with the wire wheel. Spray them. So anywhere where you see nuts and bolts that you know you're going to have to eventually get to, I just think it's helpful to go ahead and do this and, you know, make your life easier a week or two from now. It's got to be easier for the penetrant oil to get in. And I'm not even using penetrant oil. I'm just using WD-40 because I feel like that's better than nothing. I ran out of CRC about a week or so ago because I probably already put 8, maybe 9 cans on this truck. And I still ended up having to cut half the bolts anyway, so whatever. It is what it is. I thought I'd take a moment to just show some of the literature that I have. This red and white book shows you how to rebuild the knuckles on the 4x4 on the front axle housing, you know, differential, whatever you want to call it. So that's a good book to have. Plus it goes through all the other old Dodge trucks and has all kinds of technical information. You know, it's basically a shop book. So good thing to have if you ever have one of these trucks. You might want to invest in this manual. It's pretty thick. It's easily like 200 pages, I think. And it goes through service, maintenance, and all kinds of other goodies for most of the parts on most of the trucks. And then here's the Vintage Power Wagon parts catalog. If you're going to build one of these, you're probably going to need to order a lot of stuff through this, so it's a good thing to have. Another company's DCM. I don't have any kind of catalog for them, but they were really cool. I called them, and they gave me a really good price on a used vent window that's actually in the truck now. And here's the parts guide. This just tells you everything that's in the truck. Oh, hey, what is this? Oh, my wife actually made me some stickers and surprised me with them. So maybe I'll throw an email address in the description, and if you would like a free sticker, just email me your address and I'll send you a sticker. And that's it for this week. See you next time.